In this video, I'll be showing you the best ways to train each skill and make a ton of money at the same time. This time it's for mid-level for skills between 51 and 75, and I'll link below the video I did last time for low levels up to level 50 just in case you didn't see it, plus I'm going to be doing one for high levels as well as free to play in a couple of weeks time. I'm not going to include things that technically can be done at mid-level such as a lot of high-end bosses, but more go for what the average player is likely to be able to do. If you aren't phased by PvP or going into the wilderness, Revenant until you start bossing is always great money, currently around 2 mil per hour at this level, and the low defense means you also gain a ton of XP. But if you are new to the game and you don't have a lot of XP there, I wouldn't recommend doing it. So instead, for range, you can kill Lizardman Shaman, and the best part about this one is most of the gear that you need for it is Shazian armor, which you get just by killing some soldiers in the combat ring. After that, all you need is a blowpipe, which is pretty cheap, or even simply a rune crossbow will do for now until you make a little bit more money, and others and the best range bonus jewelry that you've got. Lizardman Shaman are pretty easy to learn, and they are as much as 1.8 million GP per hour, although realistically at mid-level you're probably closer to 1 mil, maybe 1.2 mil. There's quite a bit of RNG with this one though, because a lot of that profit comes from the Dragon Warhammer drop, in fact over half of it, and that's a 1 in 5,000 drop. And the hourly rate you get presumes you get one every 5,000 drops, but of course RNG doesn't work like that. For magic, you can kill a Dagonoth Rex pretty easily, the only difficult part is getting into position to kill him in the first place. At low level, you can take quite a lot of damage going up and down the ladder, and it's very hard to avoid unless you know how to prayer flick and just kill them. So I recommend bringing Bruise initially just to get started, and then once you're in, it's pretty easy after that. At this kind of level, you're going to need to use blood spells to heal up, or alternatively guttons on the minions if you have the stats, and then you can stay for as long as you like because you're actually safe spotting Rex. If you want, you can even range Dagonoth Prime whilst you're here for a little bit more money, just make sure not to get too close to Prime when killing him. Killing Rex alone is 1.2 million GP per hour, and closer to 1.5 if you're killing Prime as well. For melee, you can kill a giant mole for over 1 million GP per hour, but I wouldn't recommend this unless you've completed the hard Falador diary, and that is possible at mid-level but does require all of these skills. With the hard diary complete and the shield that you get as a reward in your inventory, every time the mole digs it's going to point to the new location. The ideal method for killing it at this kind of level is to use Darix, but that does require 70 attack, 70 strength and 70 defense to use, so if you don't have that, just use your best gear which will still work. The mole's just going to dig a bit more often, which will just result in a bit lower GP per hour. Burning Asin remains were profitable for a while for prayer training, but currently you'll make a small loss. Those remains and pylogs cost just under 5,000 each, and you get a silver key half the time worth about 7k, however the other half of the time you just get GP or a black key worth between 800 GP and 2k. But even though it isn't profitable, it will save you a fortune training prayer normally. The best way to make money with runecrafting is simply through the Abyss, however you really want the Raiment of the Eye robe set because it gives you up to 60% more runes. At level 59 you get double the amount of cosmic runes as usual, making that 600,000 GP per hour, where at level 65 you can also do death runes, a very similar amount at 600,000 GP per hour too, however once you equip the robes that goes up to almost 1 million GP. There's only one way to make money with construction, and that's through high level flat pack furniture. Some low level players will pay for flat pack furniture so they can make their house look nice without needing to pay tens of millions to actually train the skill. Typically they want gilded or the highest level item that can be crafted for each piece of furniture, but be careful as this is a very small and niche market. I made a lot of money from this around a year ago and gained a bunch of levels at the same time, but I only made a few hundred of each and it took me months to sell them. In fact, one of them I'm still trying to sell to this day. As soon as you can unlock the Hallowed Sepulchre, it's the best money for agility, although you won't get anywhere near the 2.1 million per hour the wiki suggests until you unlock the higher floors. For a more relaxed method, you can simply run the Canifus course if you prefer, but the money drops off a lot down to 310,000 GP per hour by trading in those Marks of Grace. Once you have level 70 magic and can access the Archaeus spellbook, you can use the spell Degrime, and this cleans every herb in your inventory all at once, gives you a little bit of magic XP as well as half the XP you'd normally get cleaning herbs. Now it's very hit or miss. Last week cleaning worms was as much as 1 million GP per hour, but this week it's fallen all the way down to 300,000 GP. But if you search the spell on the wiki, it tells you what the prices are currently. You can clean around 16,000 per hour, maybe a little bit less if you're doing it on a second account or you're not paying too much attention. And whatever the price difference is between clean and grimy, simply deduct 6 GP, that's just for the cost of the nature rune that you're going to use when cleaning. Multiply that by 16,000 and that's your current profit per hour doing this method. Thieving is really lacking a really good mid-level money maker. In fact, the best money for this is all the way down at level 15 and 40 respectively in either pickpocketing master farmers for seeds or ham members for clue scrolls, which are currently about 800,000 GP per hour each once you factor in the time it takes to actually complete the clue scrolls. So according to the wiki, making sacred oil is the best crafting moneymaker, but I know a sneaky one that I was going to put into my next money making video, but what the hell. So on a crafting table 3 or 4, you can create various items such as a toy doll, 3 different wooden cats and a toy soldier. They all give a tiny bit of crafting XP and only take 1.8 seconds to create, with each one giving you around 2,000 profit each. It is a bit more sweaty, but you can make around 1,200 of these per hour, which is 2.4 million GP profit. However, be a little bit careful, the amount that sell on the G each day is very low, so make sure to check the market before making a ton of these. Stringing maple longbows at level 55 is 238,000 GP per hour, and new longbows at 70 is 283,000 per hour. For an unusual one though, you can make flighted ogre arrows 6 at a time, which is 300 GP profit every 1.2 seconds. Double check the profit first on these ones, the price of these can be very volatile, and sometimes making the arrowheads from the wolf bones is the profitable part, and other times like now, making the arrows is very profitable. As it is right now, it's 900,000 GP per hour, smashing the usual methods. Whilst you can't just kill any Slayer creature you fancy for Slayer XP, you have to be assigned it. These are the most profitable ones that you can get as a task. There is literally nothing to choose between these 3, with all of them being around 800,000 GP per hour. Firewatch Sentinel is people's favourite because it can be AFK'd with melee as long as you have 43 prayer for protection prayers and just requires a Slayer level of 38. Skeletal Wyverns at 72 Slayer are consistently good money due to the Wyvern bones as well as many rune drops, and then you've got the one that very few people do or like and it's slightly more profitable than the others, and that is Fossil Island Wyverns, which can be done off task if you use this cave here. You can't kill the Ancient Wyverns until 82, which are the best money, but Spitting Wyverns, the lowest combat level of all of the Wyverns here, is almost as much money per hour. Each kill is worth an average of 11.5k. They may be the least popular, but you can get a couple of kills per minute, making it over 1 mil per hour even with banking. You've got the choice of 2 different methods for Hunter. Red Chins is more XP and decent money as well, or you can do the second method, which is far more money but absolutely terrible XP. Catching Red Chins requires level 63 and is a very respectable 1 mil per hour, whilst giving you 148,000 XP. But if you go to a hotspot for implings like this one in Sleep, you can catch all the ones that you have the level for yourself and sell them on the GE, giving you a bit of money and a bit of XP, plus by using the Discord The Grotto at the same time, which I'll link below for you. If you find a dragon or lucky imp, people will buy them off you for anything from 500,000 to 5 million GP each, depending on who's online. The best part is that they catch them themselves, so you don't even need the level to do it. All you need to do is spot them and then tell them, and then they come on their main and pay you for doing so. It's hard to give an exact amount per hour for something like this, it depends what they're paying and it depends how many imps you come across, but this spot here is my favourite. All you do is keep hopping worlds and generally in an hour you'll see 1 to 2 dragon imps. Mining gemstones while wearing an Amulet of Glory is still the most profitable mining method once you unlock it at level 40 in Shallow Village until you finally unlock Rune at level 85. Currently, it's 693,000 GP per hour and decent XP too. Mining Basalt is a close second at 620,000 GP per hour, but with only 5 XP gain per rock, it makes the XP here significantly less. The best way to level smithing and make money is smelting bars at the blast furnace, and at level 70 you unlock Addy, which is currently 101,000 XP per hour and 517,000 GP. If any skill is in need of a decent money maker, it's fishing, which hopefully sailing will provide once it's released. Because currently catching Karambwans at level 65 is 236,000 GP per hour and gets you 30,000 XP. And that's simply why a lot of players prefer fast XP methods like Barbarian Fishing at 50,000 XP per hour, even though they make no money at all from it. I don't know why the wiki never ever lists this method, especially when current cooking methods get you 348,000 GP per hour, but making Forester's Rations, which just requires level 35, is the best method at any level currently, and it's 721,000 GP per hour, whilst being almost as much XP as things like making pineapple pizzas, getting you 100,000 XP per hour. There is a way to make a lot of money firemaking, but it's incredibly click intense. Using magic or redwood pile logs requires a very high firemaking level, but creating them doesn't. In fact, even redwoods can be done at level 1. You can purchase sacred oil and whatever logs are the most profitable, but right now that is redwoods straight off the GE. Sadly, there isn't a make X option, so to create everyone you have to click on the oil and then click on the log. Now there isn't a delay, so technically you can make them as fast as you can click. But say the average player can make one every tick, it would make you 2.2 million GP per hour, but realistically with banking and misclicks, probably 1 to 1.5 million. At all levels, forestry is better money than anything we've had before, and even though they've removed a ton of items from forestry, the fact that the Fellax handles are still 2.6 million GP each, and hopefully that'll stay that way, means you're still going to get at least 500,000 per hour from the anime, plus whatever you make from the logs, as long as you're in a forestry world where you get a lot of events. In comparison, Wintertodt is around 280,000 GP per hour. Farming is another skill I could do with a way to constantly train and make decent money at the same time, because things like the tithe farm aren't really worth doing for the money. Consistent herb runs at all levels is very profitable and the only way to really make bank, but that's only if you can resist a huge urge just to spend a fortune buying tree seeds for those massive XP drops that make this skill one of the easiest in the entire game. Next time it'll be all the high level methods, and as you can imagine, it will feature the best money makers for every single skill.